So I think we would all agree that us as human bodies are, we will conduct electricity. If you get hit by lightning, you're going to feel it. You're not, made of rubber, right? We know that the Earth's surface is electrically charged, so there's lots of excessive electric ions on the Earth's surface. So if we, as positively charged people, because we are full of inflammation and irritation and injury, touch the Earth's surface, we are literally grounding ourselves, and there's a transfer of electrons. So if you have in basic physics, if you have an electrically charged particle and a positively charged particle, if they were to meet, one borrows an electron so that they're both neutral. It's just sort of the nature, we all try to reach, homeostasis, right? So if we touch the Earth, we are literally receiving an influx of negatively charged particles. And the theory is that if we are in an injured state or a sick state or an inflamed state, which are lots of positive ions are happening around that injury, we are neutralizing that. Does that make sense?
With ground?
With the ground. It has to be conductive, right? So if you were to touch the bark of a tree, it is dry, it is, like an older, thick bark may not be as conductive as a younger, sapling like that. So you have to think about how conductive the material is. So to receive that kind of influx of negative energy, not negative in a, negatively charged energy, it's, a rock is not going to do as much as like a wet, damp grass, right? So you have to think about how conductive it can or isn't, so that you receive it. What I challenge you to do right now is to think about your day. We as modern humans have built sort of this, I always refer to it as, we've built this sort of modern zoo around us. We've built our own cages, we've built our own, heated houses and heated cars, and we protect ourselves from the earth and the environment almost every second of the day. We run from air conditioning to heated in the winter. So we get up, we sleep. If we think about our ancestors first, they slept on the ground, they squatted on the ground, they danced on the ground, they touched the earth, they were hunting and gathering, they were in the grasses gathering food, they were hunting animals, touching the animals, right? Today we sleep in beds that are off the ground. We put on shoes that are rubber, that are insulated from the earth. We walk across asphalt or sidewalk to our car, which are rubber tires, obviously. We go to downtown, or well, not any of us are downtown workers, but we'll drive to a parking lot, get out, travel to a building, vinyl, wood, concrete, not conductive. We come home and reverse that. We don't ever literally touch the earth, the planet that we are on. And I think I love looking at, and this is what Derrick was referring to my blog and the nutrition is looking at us as being objective about it, that we are Homo sapiens, we are one species of millions on this planet, and why do we think that we can outthink nature? Why do we think we can, why do we think that we can improve things when we are just an animal on this planet? So I love to look backwards at our hunter-gatherer ancestors, and there's a whole body of work studying this, and looking and learning about how they ate, how they moved, and how they healed themselves. And I think we have so much to learn from our ancestors. So that's the blog and podcast kind of come from that perspective. But with this grounding thing, it's a little bit out there, right? But doesn't that make sense that we never physically touch the earth? And that makes me so sad. And even when I garden, and I've changed this, I would put gloves on. The only time that we would really touch the earth is when we garden. I would put gloves on so I wouldn't get dirty. Like, how sad is that, right? This all came about, I think our ancient cultures knew this, and maybe they didn't know it, they couldn't verbalize it, but they lived it, right? And they were much healthier species they didn't have cancer, they didn't have arthritis, they didn't have the chronic inflammation and chronic pain problems that we do today. They died for different reasons, but they didn't die from those illnesses. And this all has kind of resurfaced in the last couple of years by a gentleman named Clint Ober, who's out of the US. He was a cable installer, and he grew up on a farm, and he ended up getting a job installing cable, and he ended up working his way up and owning a company this was right when cable was kind of coming in. He just put neighborhoods and neighborhoods of installed cable. So his whole world was focused on electrical currents, insulation, grounding. And when he retired, he ended up in Sedona, Arizona. And he was sitting on a bench. He tells the story, he's sitting on a bench and he's watching people walk. And it occurred to him that every single person had shoes on, and every single person was literally insulated from the earth. And he knew from cable that to get a clear signal, you had to ground, or you'd get interference from all the EMF that was out there. So he just had this thought that why are we not grounded? So he hooked up, and I apologize that I'm going to get all the words wrong, but some kind of voltmeter or something on him, and he walked around, and he would walk towards the lamp, and he'd watch this thing go. So he had it connected to his skin, and he went around his house, and he figured out that how much electricity was, or not electricity, yeah, EMF was around in our house, but not so much at the computer, because that was grounded. We always ground our computers. So he was in a lot of pain. He took painkillers to go to sleep every night, and he had this thought, and he took like conductive duct tape, metal duct tape, and he made a grid across his sheet on his bed, and then he took a wire and he hooked it to the tape wire out his window and put a metal pole in the ground, a metal stake in the ground, and looped the wire on top of that. And he laid on the bed, and before he knew it, he was asleep, and he didn't wake up till the next morning. And he woke up and he was completely confused, because he hadn't slept ever a full night, and certainly not without painkillers. And he thought about what was happening, and he realized he was grounded. He was connected to the Earth's energy. He was connected to that rebalancing of electrons. So he ended up doing this sort of makeshift bed sheet to his friends that he knew that were in pain, and they thought he was crazy, but they indulged him, and they all reported significant healing and pain reduction. And so anyway, going forward, he now has a company that he's created these bed sheets that you lie across your bed, and you actually, there's a wire, and it sticks to the 3-prong outlets, and the bottom one is the grounding one that's hooked into somewhere beneath our house is a grounding rod. And so he has a little plug that you put into that. So as you sleep and your skin touches this conductive sheet, you are receiving grounding energy from the earth. So it's evolved into, you can now buy shoes that have, they just look like normal shoes, and there's a plug that comes out of them that has been replaced with a conductive type of material, so that as you walk, you will receive. My problem with that is that if you don't walk on the earth, the ground, the grass, if you're on asphalt, it's not going to do anything. I think the claims are interesting to me, and I have to say that last weekend I often injure my back. I have this thing that goes out, and it happened last weekend, and I know the routine, I know what happens, I know how many days it's going to be, I know what I have to do. And so I was reading all this and researching it, and I just sat on the earth. I just sat in a chair, put my feet on the ground, and worked for a couple hours, and it was significantly better. And this is an injury, I know how it goes, and I thought, oh, really? So there's still a part of me that's a little bit skeptical for the healing side of things, but people report better sleeping, reduced pain, reduced inflammation. So it's something I think that we could experiment a little bit, because the only way I'm going to believe it is if I actually try it and experience it. I also wanted to point out that the Tour de France athletes, American team 2003, 4, 5, and 7, they used healing or grounding sacks. So to recover faster from the grueling ride, to sleep better, and any injuries that they were dealing with, they had Clint Ober now makes these sacks that you can travel with that go into a grounding plug. And so they swear by their recovery and their performance that a huge part of the recovery was grounding. So they say it's the world's best anti-inflammatory. And you know what? It doesn't cost anything. It's easy to do. And if anything, it will just connect you back to nature, right? So today, I think we should try, because Derrick will tell you that when you do your journaling, it's not necessarily meant to be hunched over in your side of your bed or in a chair and table, and he'll put you in the environment that you want to write about. So today we're here at Edward Park with such great history. And I would challenge you to stand in your bare feet and stand and feel it, and just be connected with Mother Earth that we have so much been disconnected with, and just see what that feels like. And maybe it does mean leaning up against a tree. Maybe it means going to put your feet in the water or on the sand down there, or whatever feels right. But just, it's something to be aware of. I think it's a really interesting concept. So I'm gonna just, for resources, there's earthingcanada.ca and the earthinginstitute.net. And I'm going to buy one of those grounding sheets. I'll let you know. And there's actually some great resources. There's research out there showing this. There's a big cardio surgeon down in the States that's all behind this. There's also a movie called Grounded, and it's I don't know, I couldn't remember that, and it's about Haines, Alaska, and a gentleman up there who very harsh lifestyle, collecting wood, shoveling, just really physical lifestyle, always in pain, and he heard about it on a internet something or other, and he just thought, so he tried it, and he is one of the biggest advocates of grounding. He's got the whole town in Haines, Alaska grounded with shoes or sheets. And he did a ton of experiments with taking like cutting of sunflower and grounding a sunflower to the earth with a wire and a rod and not the other. And the one that's grounded will last so much longer. Or growing budding shoots, he'll ground some for extra. And it's I don't know, that's pretty powerful. So I'll just leave you with this thought. So T.H. Huxley, who was a biologist in 1863, and I love the language of this, the question of all questions for humanity, the problem which lies behind all others and is more interesting than any of them, is that of the determination of our place in nature and our relationship to the cosmos. So just who are we? What are we doing here on this earth? And just maybe think about that today in your writing and just see what comes through as you touch the ground. That's it.
Thank you, Sam.